All right, so for my project, I picked Holy Lands, USA. My name is Jacob Ellis, and I had a tough time with this project because I live in Connecticut, and my big goal was to go to a big cathedral and do a big cathedral walkthrough. And instead, there's something closer to me that's Holy Lands, USA, which is an abandoned amusement park. So it's at 60 Slocum Street in Waterbury, but it is a very pinnacle part of Waterbury. It is everybody in Waterbury can see the giant cross that's on top of this amusement park. So it was made in 1955, and it was created by a man who was an attorney whose name was John Baptist Greco, and it was entirely crowdsourced. It was volunteer based, and it there is bathtubs and toilets that he used to make the buildings in this amusement park. Everything is volunteer based, and it was super, super successful. So from the 1960s to 1970s, he was having 40,000 people annually come and visit this worship site. Now, in 1968, he unfortunately ended up dying. 2 years before he died, he closed the park because he wanted to redo it. The park was bought by the mayor of Connecticut and a car dealership, and has been since kind of derelict and neglected. But there are still plans on reopening the park. So the park was closed for many, many years, and then right around 2008, it was open to the public, and you can now go hike in there and visit the site. I went to the site, we visited it. They have on their website, don't visit this site if you don't have a tetanus shot, don't hike in places you're not supposed to go to. They have most of the rides have been removed, but if you hike enough in this 18-acre spot, you will be able to find old abandoned rides. So the whole park is about Jesus's life, and how most of it is about the crucifixion. There's a whole section that I'll post a picture of you walking up, and it has signs where Jesus fell the first time, Jesus fell the second time. The whole vibe of the park is very eerie. All of the attractions are written in bright red. People say it's haunted. There was a murder that happened here. It is a little uncanny to go there. I will say the big part about this attraction, or the whole part about the park, is that they have a giant cross that stands over the entire Waterbury. It is visible for everybody in Waterbury. The cool thing about it is that it's been redone 3 times. The first time it was made of steel, it was 56 feet. It was redone by the Boy Scouts, and it was a volunteer project. They redid it in steel again. It was 50 feet, and then it was just redone in 2008. And now this giant cross has neon sign. It's neon based, and it lights up, and it changes color every month. It changes color for holidays, and everybody in the area can see it. So that's the big attraction. I'll show pictures of it. I'll post some pictures of it at night. I didn't stay there to see it at night because it is eerie there at night, but it is definitely an interesting site to go to. It is still a place where mass happens. They have a church where it reopened, and after he died, in 2000, they reopened the park, and they had the first mass. And there's a church right at the beginning. I'll show a picture of it, where they still hold masses, and then there's a huge area right in the middle where they have a representation of the burning bush that they still hold events at, and concerts, and people come there weekly for mass and prayer and self-reflection. It is super interesting because the whole site is derelict, but people still use it. It is still under construction. They are still doing new things to it. I will say the vibe that I got there was It's uncanny. I didn't want to stay there after sunset. I didn't want to. Once the sun started going down, I was out. I was like, okay, time to go. It is a very interesting vibe, especially because of the murder that happened there. So it does have a very unique and interesting history. It is very unique that it's entirely volunteer based. So you have the Boy Scouts, you have a couple different church groups, and you have the sisters that all came in and have done all of the upkeep for this park. There's no government funding, there's no church funding. This is all volunteer funded, and it was an amusement park. It is a whole 18-acre area that you can go and hike in and explore. So the big rides have been taken out, but if you explore this 18-acre area, you will find rides that haven't been taken out. I didn't do that. There's like signs that say have a tetanus shot before you go hiking. I'm not going to hike through 18 acres to try to find these. I went and took some pictures of the actual big landmarks, but if you actually look, there is a representation of Bethlehem and Jesus's life, and then there's even references to the Old Testament. There's a reference to David and the Lion's Den. There's a reference to the Tower of Babel. There's a nativity scene. It's a pretty cool place to go to, and it's a nice place to like go and self-reflect. They are expecting to start to redo and hopefully open it again as a park instead of like just a walking trail in the future. I don't know what the time frame on that is, but the Holy Land is a very unique worship spot, and it is a huge monument for the entire town of Waterbury. You cannot not see this huge cross that's lit up on the mountainside. So I'll show some pictures of it at night, and it's a pretty cool spot. It is also very eerie.